So it's a Saturday morning. Yesterday was the last day of our phase 1 education, like teaching from home setup. And I had a year 12 class in the middle of the day. Woke up in the morning, I wasn't feeling too bad, felt a bit warm, so I took my temperature, and actually I was running a fever. Wasn't feeling too bad in my throat. My staff, when we set up the Zoom, said I was looking good. I said, well, that's good, because they said I wasn't looking good some of the other days. Started the class. It was a 2-hour class, and it was going all right. And about 15 to 20 minutes before I ended the class, I started getting really out of breath and losing my voice. The getting out of breath was the worst bit, because I was just doing lecture explanation on the board. Maybe if I speak up a bit, projecting my voice seems to clear it up a bit, but projecting my voice is what caused the throat, well, it is what caused me to get out of breath. Because when I was just speaking normally with my staff, it wasn't too bad. So I think the extra effort of trying to project my voice was doing something. But anyway, I spoke to my doctor in the afternoon, and she asked for me to come and see her. She's on this morning, so I'm driving down into Penrith. And I rang them this morning. Have you got any symptoms of a cold, or if you're running a fever? And I just said no, but I'll be wearing a mask, and I've been tested negative for COVID recently. And they said, okay. It's kind of nice to get away from the house, even if I am just in the car and going to the doctor. Alright, fix my ears. So that's most of what I thought was confirmed. Like, my lungs sound fine. It's just the tightness and the losing my voice. She wants me to see an ENT about my throat. She said there's a chance I might have developed nodules on my vocal cords. And she said it's actually fairly common in teachers. But they can be brought on by viruses. You get a virus, you get an inflamed throat, your vocal cords get inflamed, and because you're trying to talk through it, you develop nodules. That's the way I took that. She said an ENT would be able to look into that more. Well, I had an ECG when I went up to the hospital, and they came back that my heart was good. She says that I need to see a cardiologist and get an echocardiogram, which will give a better picture of my heart. Problems with your heart can cause breathlessness, and I already knew that. Blood pressure was good. That's the doctor visit done. Heading back to the house. Our mushrooms are sprouting. I really need to harvest this lot so that more can grow. Those ones are taking their time. Different style, but these really only popped up in the last week. Last night or yesterday afternoon, I did my first coat of this, going right up to the top of the brickwork. So I need to do a second coat. You can see the difference in the finish, like this soaks in a fair bit, so the second coat will be better, but I need to get that done before I can actually do the sarking, silver sarking, and the framing. I'll try and get that done now, and then while that's drying I can work on some other stuff in the meantime. And I just noticed my voice doesn't sound too bad right now. It's also the first words I've said for the day, so we'll see how we go now, being out and doing this maybe. That's my little bit of making for today. Assembling composter. So that's ready to go. This is the pegged out space, which I think is where the greenhouse is going to go. I had to jam a bit of timber in under this level and get the other piece of bar, and I've got that just basically tied up because I came out here and it was dipped a little bit in the centre, just here. And when I looked at this point and looked down, these 90 by 35s, might be able to see that colour down the end. They were basically sitting in water. So they obviously, I mean, we get rain, this is just going to hit here and run under. So it's kind of a non-ideal situation having it like that, because the stuff's just going to get wet unless I try flipping it over so it just has little channels to carry the water rather than these big ones. So I just have these rather than these. Got a few more things just stashed under here. This was a bit of the iron that was over the other side. This was all the stuff that was basically screwed to the side of the carport before to basically protect it from back in the bushfires at times. So that's basically towards the front where I've got the behind these sheds. Like, this is the work shed. This is that storage one that I built that's got like a room inside. This thing's doing its job. I'm thinking like I should probably have something hanging down here. I prefer a tarp so it's not firm, but I need a big tarp. Kind of like the one I put over the top of this shed, so it wouldn't leak. That was like a 3 by 2.4 metre, and the next biggest one I've got now is a 1.8 by 2.4. That wouldn't even go between the legs of the carport. I moved most of my cement bags and stuff for the gardens in here in the shed, the material shed. That one's still got all the plasterboard and some cardboard. I really need to cut up that. That's like one of the last pieces of the ceiling sound stuff. I need to use the saw to cut that up, but I really don't want to get that out now. It's about 4:30. I'm going to start looking at packing up out here, get the sheds closed up, and I might be able to just run the sarking. I'll run that along the wall and get that ready, because that means that I can start framing along that wall, because that just needs to be a straight wall that is square, like plumb. Done. So that's going to be the end of the room, heading into the next room. So this is all the laundry area, and just going all the way down to where the water heater is, floor to ceiling. The reflective side is apparently it'll reflect heat back into the room even from behind the wall. So basically any heat that goes through the plasterboard will get to this point and just get trapped inside. Even if it's behind the wall, it's getting trapped in this area rather than escaping outside of the building, even though it's brick wall and into the other side, which is a void. That side's cold. This side's cold at the moment, but that's the first step. I'm going to build frames to basically go in between these lower beams, because these will basically be exposed, probably painted, but they'll be exposed. So the framing will go, I'll build them outside so that I can bring them in and put them up. And this one here, so 3 frames, connect them with some extra noggins or studs in the centre section. Just need to get on with that now. Anyway, I'm going to finish packing up and go upstairs. So I did have this pegged out in the wrong spot, too close to the house. She wanted it further down here, so it's been re-pegged out. It's going 8 feet that way, 6 feet this way. So when this shed's gone, it'll be like come down the stairs and walk straight across to here. It's far enough away from the house, it'll get some sun, but it meant I had to pull out the agapanthus that were there, that stump that was just there where that peg is, right, basically. And this shrub which finally let loose because the ground's so soft because of the rain. Now I'm going to go and get the greenhouse, start setting it up here. Trying to keep myself hydrated and healthy, so got some lemon water, had this sports bottle in with a yoga mat that I had. So I thought, oh, that'll be good. There's no filter in that, so I'll just use the filtered water and that sort of thing. But the bucket leaks. Are you serious? I've got another sports bottle, so I think I might ditch this one once I finish that lot and find that other bottle for future. Oh, jeez. So that's where I got up to yesterday, realising the slope of the ground. Got this H4 treated pine stuff that I had, 4x4s, sunk them in. I just sort of put some brick around. I'm going to dig this pack and create a drain so it doesn't get flooded, try and level all that out. And I've just got to put a piece across here, which I've got over there, and get on with it. Yeah, I spent the morning a lot longer than I expected on a Zoom chat with a stack of shop teachers from the US and Canada. It's like a podcast thing that they end up doing. It's kind of just a hangout, but they do publish some of it. I'll have to get the link and put it down the bottom, because I think it's just called Shop Talk or something like that. But it went for almost 3 hours, so it was long. But there was some really cool stuff that this guy Connor, who teaches construction up in Toronto, Canada, was showing us. And it was like doing virtual tours through houses that are being built so that he can take the class of 50 through the building, as opposed to trying to take them physically through a building. So some cool things that they're coming up with. I'll just put the link, and yeah, they're going to edit it down and whatnot. But I'll get on with this now. So here's where I got to with the greenhouse. Lots and lots of steps. I'll get the roof on today, level out this inside so I can put paving in here as well. Temporarily screwed it down. I don't think it'll go anywhere. The noise you can hear, finally getting some use. Not that I really wanted to, but try and get away from the noise. Our power got turned off today because apparently a power pole right up near the highway was leaning, and this is a scheduled turn off. They're basically replacing the pole, and so they've got to switch off the power so they can switch the lines from one pole to the other. I've just got that hooked up so that my wife has access to some of the stuff she needs. It's only meant to be off from between 8 and 1, and it didn't go off till about 8:30, and it's now 10:30, so it's been running like a trooper for about 2 hours and working well, so happy with the purchase. I'm now going to get on with that. Generator's not on now, so the boys are willing to come outside. I'm pretty happy with the generator. I basically just had this sitting here, and I ran the cord up into the house through the doggy door, so I didn't have to leave a door open or a window. It ran for, I think, just shy of 5 hours. 8:30, 8:45 that I turned it on, and power came on just before 2, so I switched it off at about 10 to 2. And there's still close to half a tank of fuel in there. It's got less than a 5 litre tank in it because I bought a specific fuel can for it because it's 4-stroke, and filled it up, and I've still got fuel in the jerry. There was no complaints from my wife with the stuff that she was using. They were running fine, so pretty happy with that. I'll have to test it out with some power tools and stuff, because I know that it's a 2000 watt, 2200 starting watt, so when that first start goes on your power tool. My table saw is a 2000 watt, but I'm not sure what its starting watts are because it kicks on pretty fast. Hang on. Lucky needs to go back inside. Ready? Say hi, Lucky. Say hi. Here you go. Poor old fella. He can actually get up the stairs, but it's a bit of a climb for him. He can't or won't go downstairs anymore. Probably a mixture of his aging old bones and his failing eyesight. As for what I've been doing, roof's on, doors on, the door can be lifted off. I've got to level out the soil in there, and there's only I've just got to put a couple of screws in the edge caps and that sort of stuff, and it should be completely assembled. I don't think there's any more instructions. I'll have a look. Dug out all the dirt that I had in here, levelled it out as best I could, and then I went and grabbed, this was the sand I was using for the laundry floor when I was making the dry bedding. So I've used that just to sort of get this level. Go and pull up the pavers in front of the shed and use them in here. Got these pavers ready to be power washed before going in, and this is where they're coming from. So I've got to finish pulling these up, take them over to get power washed. Some are disintegrating because they were there, which was where the hot water run out came, and I think just over time that's helped to weather these rocks and destroy them because they got so much more water in it. Cold heat, cold heat, cold heat, cold heat. It just destroyed the integrity of the paver. So I've still got about 30 pavers here to go, but I haven't got enough pavers to actually do the whole shed. And I said that to my wife, and she said, have you got some bricks? And we said, yeah, house bricks. So we're going to pave one side of the greenhouse. The raised planters that I made are 2 by 3 feet roughly. The greenhouse is 6 by 8, so I'll be able to put the 2 planters on one side and we'll put the bricks there. This was her suggestion. And the paving on the side that we're going to walk into. So I'll finish power washing getting all these pavers so I can power wash them and get them laid down. Then I can fit the bricks in on the other side after power washing those. Started uncovering these burrows with these last pavers. First one had this poor fella, which looks like he's expired. This is not moving at all, so he was already kaput under here. But when I opened this one up, there was one right here, and when he saw me he just started backing down the hole. The fact that this is all here looks like he's tried to emerge at some point recently and can't because he was under pavers. Now it's probably too cold for him to emerge. Pavers in. Ended up taking advantage of where ones might be a little bit cracked here because they touched this and would push them all out of line. So like that one in the corner had a crack off it, so it's there. The one over here was a bit crumbly and that had to be cut twice. A few little half ones, same thing where those were. This is where the beds are going to go. And if I put this one here because of this. because of this thing here. I've been hunting around the yard. I'll see if I can find one more that I might be able to just sit here that's full. So here was my trimming session. Shed happens to be just a little bit too narrow for the pavers to fit in neatly, but I had a diamond blade here, diamond blade tile and concrete cutter, so I was using that. And one tip, a trickle of water just running across the, like you have the paver here, just have a trickle of water running across here, and as long as you keep the grinder straight up and down, the water then are going to go into the groove and into this guard section. Most of the mess on this is from my gloves. Just be prepared to get soaked and filthy. But it does cut it. It cuts down on the dust that goes into the air. And that was what I wanted to basically do. Had a lot of spray and everything going into the air, a lot of mist. But it did cut down on the paver dust, concrete dust. So I've dug a little bit of the gutter around here, just in case we get some really heavy rain. I don't want it running through here, so this will help. I'll still get a little bit here, but this will help limit all the stuff that comes from there. I've power washed that garden bed. I still need to clean it a bit more. And I've pulled the other one apart so I can make it shallower, because they were 18 inches. I'm taking it down to 11 and a half, 12. So I've already done that one. I've still got to do these two and then redo the framing underneath. I've got to cut some more stuff up to make it a lot beefier than it was. Just like I did with the other one. Then put this one back together and power wash it. And I need to sand the tops and round over the edges a bit so it's not sort of sharp to catch on and that sort of thing. Well, that took a while. But this one's now been rebuilt. And as I was on the ground cutting the iron down, my wife came out and she said, could you put a solid timber base in it so we didn't have that issue of having the bottom fall out of it, like that one, like the other one did. This one's got solid timber base. It's good thick. It was a massive pallet that I had that was at the very bottom of all my pallets. It was like 5.5 feet long. So I got plenty of stuff out of it. Anyway, this is the better looking of the two. As grubby as it looks, I've now got to clean this. Maybe tomorrow. Glad I'm still able to use this space with all the pavers gone. As you can probably tell, actually, yeah. It's almost night time. It's actually 5:15. So I'll pack the rest of these things up and pack up around there because I'm not sure what I've still got around there. Oh, I've got my power washer around there. I think I need to plug what I've been listening to. One, I've been listening to the Maker's Happy Hour. Catching up on all those, I'm up to date. That's really good. It's good podcast because it's just sitting around talking, whatever. And another one that I found, not really sure how, called Make Ideas Reality. Justin, I still haven't looked at his Instagram or his YouTube. Aussie bloke, now lives in Norway. So there's a lot of makers over there that he's sort of interviewing that I haven't heard. And he did some here in Australia when he was here at Christmas, and it's good. It's a little different. It's more of a conversation, and yes, he has some of his set questions and some of it's a bit cheesy, but he's Aussie. What can you expect? But yeah, Make Ideas Reality. Give it a listen if you haven't already. But I'm up to date on that too.